the right guys in charge of how you can get this thing turned around.
And Brian, to your point, like if the Browns called the Bills right now and said, we'll give you 5 first-round picks for Josh Allen, the Bills would laugh at them. You could offer them 10 first-round picks, they'd turn it down. Whereas if you said, you could get any coach with 2 first-round picks if you wanted, like in theory, if the coach were willing to go.
Look, the greatest quarterback to ever step on an NFL field just dropped a bomb that's shaking the entire league.
Shedeur Sanders is getting high-level looks. I mean, they are giving this man exotic looks. They shifting coverage post-snap. They bringing people, dropping people. He's getting the whole kitchen sink, bro. He's not getting no one-read stuff. I'm surprised by that. He ain't even fool him on that play. Can you imagine? Some of this stuff you're not going to get unless you just see it. It ain't no such thing that you get in the defense. And it's like, oh, he's just supposed to be good. Bro, some of this stuff you got to see. You got to have experience. You gotta have a database of experiences that you can pull from. Some looks you never gonna see by the second year. And by the time you get some stuff and you're throwing the receivers in the offseason and you're getting used to working with your offensive line and you're starting to understand the chemistry, now you're starting to put together a Rolodex so you can start to understand what they're doing, and now you can make them pay. But if you ain't got the Rolodex plus you ain't got the roster, you're not gonna succeed at the highest level. I'm tired of people trying to boil down the NFL like it's easy. It's not.
Tom Brady, the 7-time Super Bowl champion, the man who defines clutch, the living legend who's been in more pressure-packed moments than anyone in football history, just publicly eviscerated Kevin Stefanski on national television. And when Tom Brady speaks, the football world stops and listens like it's the word of God. This wasn't some casual analysis. This wasn't Brady being diplomatic or giving a coach the benefit of the doubt. No, this was a full-blown, no-holds-barred destruction of a coaching decision that Brady called malpractice. That's right, malpractice. The same word you'd use for a doctor who screws up so badly they could lose their license. Brady used that word to describe what Kevin Stefanski did to Shedeur Sanders on Sunday, and the shockwaves are still reverberating through Cleveland and beyond. Let me set the scene for you because this situation is absolutely wild. The Cleveland Browns are fighting for their lives against the Tennessee Titans.
The boss is still the Haslam family. Like, how are they going to get out of the way and hire someone to let them do their job?
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. And to your point about Mike being alpha, and listen, I get the argument about the importance of the quarterback, but the reason why I would, if you're talking all-time great coach, all-time great quarterback, a coach has a shelf life longer than a player, number one. But number two, it's to what Brian was talking about. Mike is the ultimate.
Sanders, the rookie quarterback who's supposed to be the answer to Cleveland's decades-long quarterback nightmare, is having the game of his young career. 364 yards through the air, 3 touchdown passes. An 80-yard drive in the fourth quarter when the pressure is at its peak.
You cannot be serious. This is what we are talking about. This is exactly the stuff that we are talking.
But here's where the Cleveland media comes in and tries to mess everything up.
When lesser quarterbacks would crumble, when the moment gets so big it swallows players whole. Shedeur Sanders marched his team down the field like a seasoned veteran, hitting throw after clutch throw, showing the poise and command that makes scouts salivate and front offices mortgage their futures. The Browns are down by 2 points. They just need one play, one 2-point conversion to tie the game and send it to overtime. Shedeur has been on fire all game. He's proven he can handle the pressure. He's earned this moment. And then Kevin Stefanski does the unthinkable. He pulls his quarterback off the field and sends out a wildcat formation. Not once, but twice. 2 chances to tie the game, 2 chances to keep their season alive, and both times Stefanski looks at his quarterback who just carried them 80 yards and says, "Now we're going with a trick play instead." The plays fail spectacularly, misaligned, chaotic. 0 chance of success from the moment the ball is snapped. The Browns lose. The season takes another devastating hit, and Shedeur Sanders stands on the sideline watching his coach essentially tell him, "I don't trust you when it matters most." Now imagine you're Tom Brady, sitting in the Fox Sports booth breaking down this game. You've been in this exact situation hundreds of times. You know what it feels like to have the game on your shoulders. You know what it takes to execute in those moments. And you're watching a coach pull his quarterback, who just played out of his mind, for a gimmick play that has virtually no chance of working. Brady's reaction was immediate and visceral. "Let me make sure I understand this right," Brady started, and you could already hear the disbelief creeping into his voice. Shedeur Sanders just threw for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, led an 80-yard drive in the fourth quarter, showed incredible
Taj, the fix is in, people. Come on, man. Look at this. Look at this nonsense, man. Look at this dude right here. Look, they circled him. They circled him. Look at him. Just look at him.
Right here, it's going to be a...
All right. Come on, you in position. Are you serious, dog? You serious? You serious? Come on, man.
It's the outside arm, pushes him.
Come on, man. You can't be serious, man. Y'all can't be.
composure under pressure, made clutch throw after clutch throw, and when you need one play to tie the game, you pull him for a wildcat formation. The way Brady said it, with that mixture of shock and genuine confusion, made it sound like he couldn't comprehend what was going through Stefanski's mind. But that was just the beginning. Brady was just warming up, and what came next was one of the most brutal, direct, and absolutely devastating critiques of a coaching decision we've heard from any broadcaster this season. Brady's voice suddenly got louder, more passionate, more intense. "I've been in this situation hundreds of times," he said, his voice rising with emotion. "Fourth quarter, game on the line, everything you've fought for comes down to 1 or 2 plays, and you know what you do in those moments. You put the ball in the hands of your best players. You trust the people who carried you through the fight. You don't get cute, you don't overthink it. And you definitely don't abandon what's been working just because you drew up some fancy play earlier in the week." This is where Brady's credibility becomes absolutely crushing for Stefanski. We're not talking about some analyst who never played the game. We're not talking about a talking head trying to generate clicks. This is Tom Brady. The man has been in more game-deciding moments than possibly any player in NFL history. He's won Super Bowls with last-minute drives. He's orchestrated comebacks that seemed impossible. He knows what it takes to execute under that kind of pressure, and he's telling everyone watching that Stefanski got it completely, fundamentally wrong. Brady leaned forward, his hands moving like he was back in a huddle, calling plays, living the moment. "This quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, just showed you everything a coach needs to see," Brady explained, his voice filled with conviction. "He proved he can handle pressure. He proved he can make tight window throws. He proved he can lead a team down the field when the clock is bleeding and the situation is desperate. He earned that moment. He belonged out there for those conversions." Then Brady asked the question everyone watching at home was thinking. So why pull him for a wildcat play that wasn't even lined up correctly and had zero real chance of working? The technical breakdown Brady provided was surgical. He explained that if you're worried about a bad snap, which some speculated was Stefanski's concern after an earlier miscue, you practice the snap exchange. You tighten up communication between your center and quarterback. You don't just scrap your entire passing game because of one mistake. "That's like saying we threw an interception earlier, so now we'll never throw again," Brady said, his tone making it clear how absurd that logic sounds. But then Brady delivered the line that's going to be replayed and quoted for years. He looked straight into the camera with that same fierce intensity that used to intimidate defenses and said, "If I'm Shedeur Sanders right now, I'm questioning everything. I'm wondering if my coach trusts me. I did everything you could ask a rookie quarterback to do in a tough spot, and it still wasn't enough to keep me on the field when the moment was biggest." Brady let that sink in for a moment before dropping the hammer. That's exactly how a quarterback starts doubting himself, hesitating, and losing confidence. That's coaching malpractice. Coaching malpractice. Those 2 words hung in the air like a death sentence. When Tom Brady, the most successful quarterback in NFL history, the player every coach in the league would kill to have, says another coach committed malpractice, that's not just criticism. That's a career-defining statement. But Brady wasn't finished. He shifted into storytelling mode, drawing from his own legendary career to illustrate just how wrong Stefanski's approach was. "When I was a young quarterback," Brady began, and you could hear the weight of experience in every word, "Coach Belichick put me in high-stress situations. He pushed me, he challenged me, but he also believed in me before I had fully proven myself. That trust lit a fire inside me. It gave me confidence. It taught me how to stay calm under pressure, and it made me feel like my coach had my back. Because of that, I refused to let him down." Then came the comparison that had to hurt Stefanski even more. Brady started listing the elite coaches in the league. "Look at Andy Reid with his young quarterbacks. Look at what Kyle Shanahan does. Look at what the best coaches in this league give their franchise guys. They hand them the tools, the responsibility, the real game moments they need to grow. They let their players learn by actually playing. They don't pull a quarterback who's on fire, playing the best ball of his life, just because they're excited about a trick play they drew up 3 days earlier." The frustration in Brady's voice was palpable, and it was clear this wasn't just about football strategy. This was personal for Brady because he knows what it's like to be a young quarterback trying to prove you belong. He came into the league as a 6th-round pick, a guy nobody believed in, someone who had to grind for every opportunity. And now he's watching another late-round quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, who's performing incredibly well, only to have his own coaches undermine him in the biggest moment. 364 yards, Brady shouted, his voice booming through the broadcast. 3 touchdown passes, an 80-yard drive in the fourth quarter. What else does this kid need to do to finish what he started? From where I'm sitting, Shedeur Sanders did everything you could ask of him. He gave his team a real shot to win. And his reward was standing on the sideline watching a misaligned play destroy his team's chance to tie the game. Then Brady dove into something deeper, something that cuts to the heart of what winning football really is. A strong team is built on belief, trust, and communication, he explained. When a quarterback knows his coach believes in him, especially in the biggest moments, he naturally steps up. It boosts his confidence, sharpens his decisions, makes him play even better. But when you pull him off the field after he's been performing at a high level, you send the exact opposite message. You plant doubt. You make the player second-guess himself. And in a league where everything happens in split seconds and confidence decides everything, that hesitation can crush a team's chances. Brady's co-host tried to offer a defense, suggesting maybe Stefanski had a solid reason we didn't know about, some behind-the-scenes detail that would make it all make sense. Brady literally laughed, but it wasn't a light laugh. It was that sharp, dismissive laugh that says you can't possibly be serious right now. Great coaches adapt to what's happening on the field, not what they thought would happen when they were making plans on Tuesday, Brady fired back. Shedeur Sanders proved he could handle the pressure. He showed every sign of a quarterback who can perform under stress and rise when the moment gets real. And Stefanski ignored all that live proof just to run a wildcat play. That's not smart coaching. That's stubborn thinking. That's ego getting in the way. The word ego just hung there in the air, and you could tell Brady meant it as serious, heavy criticism. In championship-level football, ego has zero space when it's time to make decisions, Brady continued. The only thing that matters is doing what helps the team win. Pre-game plans don't matter. The key is reading the situation, trusting your top players, and making the right call when the moment counts. Then Brady added historical context that made Stefanski's decision look even stranger. He reminded everyone that Cleveland has been searching for a franchise quarterback since 1999. 25 years of different players, different experiments, different hopes that all ended in disappointment. And now they finally have a young quarterback with legitimate upside, someone improving every week, someone with the right background, work ethic, and talent. Yet the coaching staff handled him in a way Brady called flat-out confusing. You finally get a quarterback who can truly play in this league, and you bench him during the biggest moment, Brady said, his voice filled with genuine bewilderment. Do you know how rare it is to find a quarterback who can actually compete at this level? Shedeur Sanders just put up a serious performance, and he still didn't get the chance to finish the job. Brady then brought his own career into the conversation, and this is where the criticism became absolutely crushing. In my first year with Tampa Bay, we lost to the Saints 27-10 in the first game, Brady recalled. But we bounced back. Do you know why? Because Bruce Arians trusted me. He let me throw. He let me take control. He let me run the offense. He didn't pull me off the field for trick plays during crucial drives. He looked me in the eye and said, "Tom, go win the game." That's what real winning coaches do. That's how championship coaches operate. They trust their quarterback, especially in the biggest moments. The comparison to Bruce Arians landed like a knockout punch because Arians is universally respected for how he empowers his quarterbacks, how he gives them confidence and responsibility and treats them like leaders. Brady was essentially saying Stefanski was doing the exact opposite, using an approach that doesn't build confidence, doesn't develop young players, and doesn't help teams win when pressure hits. Brady's tactical breakdown of the Wildcat decision was equally brutal. When does the Wildcat ever actually work when it truly matters? He asked. Name one time a team used a Wildcat on a 2-point conversion with the game on the line. He paused, waiting for an answer that never came because there isn't one. It's a trick play you run early in a game to catch the defense off guard, maybe on a random first down, but you don't call that when the entire moment comes down to 2 yards and your season is hanging in the balance. This wasn't just about one play anymore. Brady shifted to the human element, the part that affects the entire locker room. You've got offensive linemen who just powered through an 80-yard drive, blocking hard on every snap. Brady painted the picture. You've got receivers who made tough catches and ran sharp routes. You've got a running back who kept the rhythm alive. And then when the biggest play of the night arrives, most of those same players aren't even on the field. What does that say about the coach's trust in his guys? Brady pointed out something people hadn't fully considered yet. If I'm Jerry Jeudy, one of the receivers who helped march that ball down the field, I'm looking at the sideline thinking, wait, we're not going to try to score with the same group that just moved the ball easily. That kind of move creates confusion. It makes players question if their coaches are really making the best choices for the team. And once players start doubting their coach, once they feel like the coach doesn't fully trust them, the whole foundation cracks. The news that Jimmy Haslam called an emergency board meeting added another layer of chaos to the situation. Brady made it clear he wasn't trying to tell an owner how to run his business, but his message was loud and direct. Owners want to give coaches time and stay patient, Brady explained, but they also have to protect what matters most. And right now, Shedeur Sanders might be Cleveland's most valuable asset. If the coaching staff is doing anything that slows down his growth or chips away at his confidence, ownership has to step in. Brady reminded everyone that quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. When a team finally finds someone who can really play, they cannot afford to mishandle him, he said with emphasis. The message couldn't have been clearer. If it comes down to choosing between Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders' development, you protect the quarterback. You build around him. You make sure he has everything he needs to reach his full potential. Brady also showed real respect for Myles Garrett's handling of the situation. Garrett didn't explode or disrespect anyone, but he made his point clear. He praised Shedeur's performance while quietly questioning why the guy who led the whole drive wasn't on the field for the biggest snaps. That's what true leadership looks like, Brady said. That's a veteran star using his status to protect a younger teammate without causing chaos. As Brady wrapped up his commentary, he delivered one final devastating blow. Kevin Stefanski made plenty of mistakes on Sunday, but the biggest one wasn't even the play call, Brady said, staring into the camera with that trademark intensity. The worst mistake was sending a message to his young franchise quarterback that he didn't trust him in the biggest moment. In the NFL, trust is everything, especially for quarterbacks. Confidence, belief, and stability matter more than anything when you're leading an offense. Brady's final warning hit like a hammer. I'm sure Shedeur Sanders is sitting there wondering whether his coach believes in him right now, and the coaching staff is responsible for creating that doubt. If they don't fix it fast, if they don't rebuild that trust and give their young quarterback the power he's earned, they could regret it for a long time. Because quarterbacks with real ability are rare, and when you finally get one who can truly play, you cannot afford to mishandle the relationship. When Brady finished speaking, the entire studio went silent. His co-host didn't even know what to say next. And honestly, what can you say after the greatest quarterback ever breaks down a situation with that kind of detail and direct criticism? Within minutes of Brady's comments airing, social media exploded. NFL Network jumped on the story immediately, with analysts debating whether Brady went too hard or if his criticism was completely justified. Almost every former player who spoke agreed with Brady's breakdown. Shannon Sharpe said Brady wasn't just right, he said everything that needed to be said. Even analysts who usually defend coaches with the classic, "We don't know what's happening behind the scenes," didn't have much to push back with this time. Brady's logic was too airtight. Current players kept things more low-key publicly, but you could see what they really thought from all the likes and reposts of Brady's clip. Their silent way of saying, "Yeah, he's right," without getting involved in drama. Reports even said several Browns players watched the clip in the locker room, nodding along, finally feeling validated because someone as legendary as Brady was saying the exact things they'd been thinking but couldn't say out loud. Now Kevin Stefanski finds himself in a nearly impossible situation. The most respected quarterback in NFL history just criticized him on national television. His own star defender signaled something is off. His boss called an emergency board meeting about his job security. The national media is stacking on top of the story. Fans are furious and demanding changes. And Stefanski still has 4 more games to coach. 4 games where every move he makes will be examined like never before. Every play call will get judged. Every interaction with Shedeur Sanders will be watched to see if the relationship has shifted. If Stefanski keeps handling Shedeur the same way, keeps making choices that suggest he doesn't fully trust the rookie, Brady's words are only going to echo louder. Every time he pulls Shedeur in a big moment, someone will bring back that clip of Brady calling it malpractice. The message from the football world is crystal clear. Kevin Stefanski needs to figure this out immediately, or his time in Cleveland might be over sooner than anyone expected. Because when Tom Brady says you committed coaching malpractice, that's not a headline that fades away. That's a statement that follows you for the rest of your career. And right now, with the entire league watching, Stefanski has 4 games to prove Brady wrong. The clock is ticking, the pressure is mounting, and the greatest quarterback ever just told the world that Cleveland's coach failed when it mattered most. This isn't just a coaching controversy anymore. This is a full-blown crisis that could define the future of the Cleveland Browns for the next decade. And it all started when Tom Brady decided he'd seen enough and spoke the truth that everyone else was afraid to say.